Welcome to A Quiet Catholic. My name is Matt, and this channel is where I invite you along my journey of healing and growing closer to Christ. My wife and my 4 kids are not only allowing, but actually encouraging me to build a place where I and others can seek retreat from our hectic lives. What you are watching is a walking tour of my little slice of heaven. This is where I will build an off-grid cabin and create a space for prayer and work. Ora et labora in the Benedictine tradition. Welcome to Shiloh. But I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about, first of all, a little bit about who I am, why I'm doing this, and why I want to take you guys along on the journey. So I'm married. My wife and I have been married for, this year will be 19 years later on this year. We have 4 children, teenage, preteen years. We also have 6 children in heaven. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a later video. Why I'm doing this. I've never had a hobby in my adult life. I played sports growing up. But once I got married, especially, and we started having kids pretty quickly, that early on in the marriage, it took a lot of work, me being gone a lot, multiple jobs to make ends meet. And that just kind of set a pattern for me. Even to this day, I have yet to have fewer than 2 jobs, usually one full-time and the other's part-time. Some of those have been trying to build businesses, some successful, others not. But I got to a point in my life where any free time I had, I always found myself working on something. And it was at my wife's suggestion that, hey, we're at a point in our life where you don't have to work all the time. You've never had a hobby. Maybe it's time to get one. So I thought about it, and I thought, I'm not really the type of guy that's going to go out on the weekend and play golf. My beer league softball days are long gone. And there's just not a lot of those kind of traditional hobbies that interested me. And then one day, quite a few months ago, Thomas and I were just kind of messing around on YouTube looking for interesting stuff, and something struck me to look for cool cabins. So we spent a few weeks just looking at really neat remote cabins, and a lot of them were off-grid. And I started thinking, that's a pretty interesting concept. I'd always, I found it interesting. So along the way, I found Kyle's cabin. Young guy and his fiance, I think now wife, built their own cabin completely off-grid, no electric, no water. Really enjoy his channel to this day. And then he kind of turned me on to Boss of the Swamp. Really cool dude. If you're into outdoorsy or off-grid type stuff living, Boss of the Swamp. Just go back from the beginning. He's got, 8, 10, 12 years worth of videos. A lot of neat practical stuff, but just a lot of life stuff that he goes over. And through Kyle, I kind of got turned on to Bush Radical. And then, from Bush Radical, I think I got interested in Corporal's Corner. Bush Radical he's more of a bushcrafter. Corporal's Corner, a lot of solo overnight deals. Again, bushcrafting, kind of survivalist, just tips and tricks out in the woods. Then through Corporal's Corner, got turned on to Joe Robinette and his story. Anyway, long way around to say that finally it became obvious that I was really interested in this. And then along the line in one of those conversations, my wife suggested, why don't you try and build a cabin? I thought, okay. We've got access to a little bit of land, and we know some some other friends and family that have some land, and okay, but the cost of it, yada, yada, yada. And then finally I realized years ago, probably a decade or more by now, we used to raise goats. And we still had one of the little goat sheds that is on skids. It's movable. It's not big. By this time, you've probably seen it. If not, you will soon. But I thought, you know what? I mean, the building's already there, right? So let's pick a site and let's start to actually consider this. And then there was a moment one day, I was listening to a podcast. I wish I could remember which one it was or who said it, because I'd love to give them credit. But the podcaster said one line that just struck me and still sticks with me to this day. He said, "We were created for a garden." So anyway, the more I thought about it, we were created for a garden. That's where God put us. He put us in the garden. And so I got to thinking, maybe that was part of the appeal of this off-grid cabin out in the wilderness. That's what we were created for. We were created to be in God's garden. So I thought, you know what? It might be good for my soul to spend some time out in the wilderness. And everything kind of pieced together where the land we're on right now, it's family land. We're actually in the process of selling it. We're selling it to a friend of mine. He's going to continue to allow me access to it, and actually he's going to help me move the cabin. So that's what I'm doing, kind of why I'm doing it. We were created for a garden, so I'm going to spend a little more time in a garden. Why I'm taking you guys along. I can't imagine there's a huge section of people that are interested in Catholicism and off-grid living. Maybe there's more than I think. But I found that being outside, being disconnected, thinking about things that affect life through faith, through philosophy, through psychology, some of the things I've learned. And in future videos, I'll fill you guys more in on each one of those journeys. But I don't know that many other people are interested in it. But I do know, especially in the Catholic sphere, with Catholic men, there are a lot of good resources out there, a lot of tremendous Catholic men. But I've found that most of them are academics, which has its place, for sure. And I enjoy some of those guys. But at my heart, that's not really me. I'm not an academic. I'm more of a, I don't know how to put it, I'm more of a down-to-earth, a little more relatable. I like to simplify things. And so I thought, you know what, maybe there are some other people that would want to go on this journey with me. And if nothing else, I've logged this journey for opportunities to reflect back on in the future. So again, as kind of an intro, a little bit about me, a little bit about what I'm doing, a little bit about why I'm doing it, and a little bit about why I'm bringing you guys along. So I want to thank everybody that's joined us so far. We hope to continue to come out here and find peace and find true leisure and find a little bit of disconnect and find a little peace in the garden. So welcome, and I hope that you guys enjoy what we bring you. One more thing. I need to talk about what my YouTube channel is not. I'm not an expert in anything, really. I'm not a theologian. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a philosopher. I'm not a carpenter. I'm not a land clearer. I'm not any of those things. I know a little bit about some of them. So my video is not a how-to. It's not a how-to put up a cabin. It's not a how-to insulate and furnish a cabin. It's not a how-to of Catholic teaching or philosophy or, again, psychology. it's more just kind of me sharing my journey with you guys. So I'm hoping to do a lot of learning along the way. And by all means, if you see me doing something boneheaded, or if you see me say something heretical on accident, feel free to let me know. I'm here to learn. It's taken me a lot of years to realize that I'm not quite as smart as I think I am. I certainly don't know as many things as I think I do. So I'm open to corrections, advice. Don't be a jerk about it, but that's all part of the process. This entire project and the time that I spend out here is a process of healing and growing and sharing what I go through and what I learn along the way. So there'll be times I'll maybe give some advice, take it or leave it. But I've done a lot of things the wrong way in my life. And so especially if you're younger, don't let that experience go to waste on you. Okay, I've made a lot of mistakes along the way. Done, said, treated people the way I shouldn't have treated them, that I had to learn the hard way. So take it for what it is. Again, I'm no expert. Shared a little bit of wisdom that I have with you, and we'll muddle our way through. But I'm looking forward to this process. I'm officially middle-aged now. Actually turned 41 this last year. And, I blew through 30. 30 didn't bother me at all. Coming up on 40, I started to get, it started to affect me. I'm not ready yet to say how, or I'm not able yet to say how. Like, it wasn't a sudden fear of death or that my time was running out or anything like that. I just slowly started to get a new perspective on the world and, started to realize some things are important and some things aren't. Chasing money isn't important to me anymore. I want to make enough for my family to live in a comfortable way. But I decided that I was done trading my time for money, especially my time away from my kids. Like I said, they're teenagers, preteen, and the clock is ticking on my time with them. My youngest is 11, so in 7 years, my wife and I, we're gonna be empty nesters and probably chasing our kids all over the country, going to see them wherever they settle, trying to catch up with the grandkids and do all that kind of stuff. So I've got a short window here, so I decided that we're gonna make it just enough money to get by, and the rest of the time I'm gonna spend with my kids. And one of those things we're gonna do is this cabin project. We're gonna do a lot of fishing and a lot of kayaking and a lot of hiking and just doing some things that we enjoy. Some of those I'll bring you guys along for. Some of those are just for us though. So again, I'm kind of back to why I'm doing what I'm doing. For many reasons, but mostly connection. I want to be more connected to myself. I want to be more connected to my God, and I want to be more connected to my family. And I think that this place and this project can help with all of that if I do it the right way. So again, I just wanted to review a little bit what this channel is not, who I am not, and a little bit more explanation of what the heck it is I'm doing out here. So thanks for coming along. Keep remembering things I want to share with you guys. I talked about how the channel is not a how-to. Another reason it's not a how-to is I neither have the capabilities nor honestly the desire to demonstrate a lot of things. You guys will see me trying to split some firewood. I'm not very good at that. You guys will see me work on this cabin, doing some things. I don't have the capabilities either in my equipment or honestly in myself to film a lot of that. Doing all this off my phone so far. One day we'll upgrade. And Another thing is, and I want to share this with you guys, but it's honestly one of the more embarrassing things in life. For some reason, I inherited from my dad very shaky hands. My left one's always worse. And so I can't do a lot of one-handed tasks. Hey, buddy. And hold the camera and show you what I'm doing. Most of the time I can barely do the task two-handed. There might be times where I might have Thomas or one of the other kids or somebody else do some in-depth or, kind of close-up filming to what I'm trying to do. That's not really the point of the channel. It's more about the journey than it is a how-to. If you guys want to know how to do some of this stuff, I'm happy to point you to resources of people that can show you much better than I am. Places that I learned some stuff. Corporal's Corner, Boss of the Swamp, Kyle, some of the other videos I've watched, channels that I've watched. Some of the more bushcrafty outdoor stuff, that's where I learned it. Some of the carpentry stuff I've just honestly kind of picked up along the way. I've never been a carpenter. I've never worked on a contracting crew, anything like that. I just kind of enjoy it, so I've picked it up here and there. Probably some of the stuff I do is totally wrong, but it's always worked for me. So, if it ain't broke. So yeah, I just want to kind of talk about, that's why my filming style is more stationary. I have to use a tripod a lot more. Anytime I'm trying to walk around and show you guys things, it's just earthquake test from Ace Ventura 2. It's terrible. It's bad footage. I'll try to get better as much as I can, but that's kind of why some of the shots and some of the footage are the way they are. In case you were wondering.